Hello everyone, welcome to another commentary video on my Red Dead Redemption 2 Pacifist challenge. This is the first mission, Outlaws from the West, that I've uploaded a while ago, and I wanted to also provide commentary for that one on what's going on and how I managed to solve this. So first of all, once again, gotta give a huge thanks to Azazar and his Goodest Boar from the West series, which inspired this whole thing. And yeah, I'm proud to say that I actually managed to one-up him in this mission because, if I remember correctly, he had 2 knockouts in his run, whereas I managed to have 0. Because I think this was actually the first run of that day. I recorded the whole walking up to the Adler house sequence in addition to the actual fight, which gives me the opportunity to talk about it a little bit here. First, my strategy. Let me set the scene here a little bit before we go too far in. So in case you aren't too familiar with the mission, later on here we will get to the Sadie Adler's house, and we will have to fight a bunch of O'Driscoll boys. And the thing with that is that luckily we have Dutch and Micah alongside with us who can shoot them. But there are in total 3 enemies which are scripted to only be killed by Arthur. How that actually works out is that they are invincible to damage from our companions here, and we will have to either kill them ourselves or knock them out ourselves or find some other way to deal with them. Because Azazar also struggled so much with this, I first assumed that there will be no way of actually dealing with the O'Driscolls once you have them fully activated in a way that will allow you to, not knock them out in some way. What I was initially thinking is that I will try to somehow sequence break this level. I wanted to somehow make sure that they never spawn. Maybe they spawn in some invalid state that makes them be killable. Maybe they spawn in a way that makes them die immediately. Maybe I can just bypass the whole section. That was my initial thought. So, for example, we've already actually let me go back here so I can explain that a little bit more. For example, right here you can see Charles heading off to the left, and I don't think I look over there in this video, so you can't see it, but you can obviously just check it out on your own. Right now, all of the rest of the gang is to this house. You can just see the roof off on the left here, and Charles is about to go there as well. Currently, Molly is standing at the door and holding it open. I'm pretty sure it's Molly, it might be Abigail. One of them is standing there, holding the door open for Charles to go in. And one of my first ideas was, maybe at this point I was just searching, I was just exploring, and I was thinking maybe it helps me in some way to get into that house alongside the rest of the gang. Maybe I can speak to someone, start some side mission, do something in there, basically. I was just kind of looking for things that I could do. And one thing I spent a lot of time on was getting off my horse and following Charles into this house, though there is an invisible box over the door that prevents the player from entering. And I don't think I have a video of this here. I wouldn't show it now. But I did actually manage to glitch into the house by riding in front of the door before Charles goes there, putting myself between the door and my horse, and then having Charles push the horse into me, which then pushes me through the door. And I did by this mechanism actually managed to get into the house, but sadly, while I could interact with every single person in there, besides Davey for obvious reasons, and interact with them, greet them, could not actually antagonize them, which was interesting. Yeah, that did not turn out to be as any form of valid strategy. Also, in the house ahead of us, where you can later interact with Pearson, the horses of the rest of the gang are stabled. And I was wondering if somehow that could help me, but I did not figure out a way to in any way interact with them that could help me here. Also, the house on the right is where Arthur later stays, and he has a bedside table, and the room next door also has a bedside table, I think. And you can, in theory, get off here now and go over there and get some, I think, classic oat cakes and some other small resources. But I didn't actually need them for the fights that much, so I did not get them in this run. But just something to point out that you can already enter the house where Arthur sleeps and get some of the stuff that's there. Okay, let's skip ahead here a little bit. So another thing that's interesting here that I can point out is that you're currently not allowed to take out your gun. So I can't. The game really only gives you controls bit by bit as the game progresses. And right now I can't even open the inventory or the weapon wheel. But something that I just wanted to point out because it's useful a lot of the time is that you can actually still equip your gun here. It might actually happen further in the clip. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not sure if I actually do it here, but I do it for fun mostly because it's not helpful in this specific mission. I don't think I do, actually. But you can take out your gun here by simply pressing the 1 key. I don't know if it also works on console somehow, but on if you're playing with a keyboard, you can press the 1 key and that will take out your pistol, generally, not just in this mission. And you can actually fire it, at least while on horseback. And you can't shoot it while you're are off the horse, and you also can't aim. You can only hip fire it. I just wanted to mention this here because actually, in the course of experimenting a bunch, figured this out, and I actually managed to fail the mission in a whole bunch of interesting ways using the pistol, mostly by alerting the O'Driscolls before I was allowed to, and actually also killing Dutch and Micah a whole bunch of times by not by shooting them directly. That's not allowed usually, but by shooting the lanterns they're holding, which will I don't know, I guess spray fire on them or something, and that will count as having attacked them and will fail the mission. But obviously very satisfying to do, especially for Micah. Also, this doesn't happen here, but in some runs, this fog that's really obscuring our vision right now will simply not happen. I don't know what the condition is, but I've had it happen a few times where this fog wasn't there, and I could see for very far. And if that was the case right now, we could actually already see Micah. He's just standing a few hundred meters in front of us, behind, kind of a little bit hidden behind some rocks. And once we get closer, he will start moving towards us. Probably right about now is when he starts walking towards us. But you could already see him if this fog wasn't there, which I found kind of funny that he's just kind of standing over there and waiting for us to approach. Especially since he probably can't see us either if he also has that fog. So here I also obviously tried a whole bunch of sequence breaks, tried to kind of nudge Dutch, and you can actually nudge Dutch somewhat accurately and efficiently to some other places. Tried to maybe get him to ride to some other place on the map and maybe do something there. I wasn't necessarily looking for anything specific, but that was too much of a pain to really nudge him to any specific place and prevent him from moving on. I knocked him off his horse a bunch of times, also Micah. So if you didn't know, if you ride into an NPC that's on a horse from a specific angle and with specific speed and everything, it will cause Arthur to fall off his horse, and if that happens, it will cause the NPC's horse to rear on their behind legs, and that will cause the NPC to fall off the horse. And I've done it with both Dutch and Micah a few times, but sadly that does not do anything for me except fail the mission actually. And luckily, funnily enough, it's not because you attacked them or anything. it's actually because if they fall off the horse, their position is not tracked correctly anymore, I guess. And so even though you might be standing right next to them, a few seconds later the mission will be like, oh, you abandoned them. Probably because like their location tracker thing actually moves on without them or something like that. I'm not quite sure what happens there, but so in any case, it's not no use to knock them off their horse, is what I'm saying. So here I refuse to talk to Micah, I think, because I've heard his dialogue just too often already. So here's an interesting thing. If you ride off to the left here, so we're about to stop at this cliff and look down at Sadie's house. And this will also cause Arthur to put away his lantern. But you can ride off to the left here and just kind of ride down the hill to the left and go down to Sadie's house. First of all, with Micah and Dutch staying up here and just waiting for you. And also without putting away your lantern and everything. And in fact, when you're down, if I were to go to the left now and go down to Sadie's house, I would not actually hear the violin song yet. So that's interesting. So the violin song is actually not yet playing. That actually only happens once Arthur puts away his lantern. So obviously, I tried to find some way of using that to my advantage, going down there early before the game expects me to and messing around. One interesting thing I figured out is that you can actually shoot the O'Driscolls, at least most of them, O'Driscolls in the house, through windows. You obviously have to be kind of far away in order to do this, because if you're too close, they will be alerted and you will fail the mission. But if you're kind of far away, you can shoot them through the window and kill them before the cutscene even plays. And obviously, this is not of no use to me, because that's not a very pacifist thing to do. But just interesting to note that works. And if you do that, then just when the cutscene plays, no one will walk out of the house, and no one will shoot and whatever. But because the NPC is already dead inside of the house, but the cutscene will still mostly play out the same way. There will just be nobody there, basically. Okay, let's continue on here. Actually, I paused a little bit too early to explain the thing with riding off to the left. So here is where you could do that. Before Micah says this voice line is where you need to go off. So right now I think the violin song starts to play. That's obviously not very important, but just something interesting. Just something I found interesting, that the song is not playing until you put away your lamp here. Okay, this is also interesting. You can fail the mission a bunch here, where Dutch just wrote into me weirdly. Here again, this happens actually quite a bunch to me during testing, that Dutch will kind of not pathfind here correctly and ride into me and ride behind me, then try to overtake me and whatever. And if he falls off his horse, which could happen here, once again the game will kind of glitch out, and you will most likely it will most likely count as you abandoning Dutch and whatever. And so that's also kind of annoying. But luckily here he managed to stay on his horse, and we moved on. I think I actually trip here. Oh no, okay. What I was referring to, sorry for going back, but this is something that I just want to show because it's very funny to me. So you can see here on the left this little stone that's surrounded by a little ditch in the snow. Obviously, because I've played this same level like hundreds of times, I want to get to the O'Driscolls as fast as possible. And so often I would cut to the left here and go past this little stone and this little tree there, to just kind of get there just a little bit faster, right? Speed running type strategies here. But in fact, there is some sort of weird geometry there that will cause your horse to trip and fall down, and you to fall off the horse. So that's why I'm kind of staying well clear of this very dangerous small rock there, so I don't fall down. So here's another interesting thing. We're kind of just going a few seconds at a time here. So here, obviously, the game expects me to ride on straight to this rock over there where Mike is currently going, hitch up, and then move on foot. But there's actually nothing forcing you to go off your horse. So you can ride around in Sadie's ranch on horse as much as you want. It won't It won't alert the Driscolls unless you shoot. And in fact, you can go right up to the doors while in this stage of the mission. Later on, there will be collision boxes over the doors, preventing you from even getting close to them. But right now, I could ride up right to the doors and walk right to the doors, and potentially even glitch through the doors into the house. I've successfully done this in a different part of the game, using a trick with a lantern and a gun. Maybe you have seen videos of that. It's a way of that you can glitch through thin barriers, and it could probably be possible to get through the door into the house using that technique. But I don't think it would actually do us any good. I've tried it a whole bunch, and actually I've managed to get into the house a little bit later in the mission, but still earlier than you're supposed to. And it did nothing in terms of, I don't know, triggering a cutscene or something like that. So I don't think that would really do anything for us. I hope that maybe I held on to hope that maybe something interesting would happen if you glitched into the stable where you fight the cousin and also find your horse. But I was not able to do that, but even so, I don't think it would have achieved anything. To be honest, I don't think I would assume you would just be standing there in an empty room, and the horse wouldn't even be there. I was able to look into the room by glitching halfway into the walls, but and I couldn't see anything in there. So I don't assume that it would even help to get in there. But I guess it's still something worth investigating, maybe. So in this case, I'm not messing around too much because I know where I want to go. You can see Arthur's banging on the side of his horse there. Now he stopped because I was pressing shift to go a little bit faster, but the game forced you to go real slow here. So here's another thing I want to mention. It's not useful as far as I know in this mission, but I just wanted it to be out there in case it's useful to someone else. So you can see I kind of parked my horse kind of far away from this rock in front of me here. But this is just because in this case I don't plan on doing anything with the horse anymore. But it is actually so after I get off this horse here, I can't actually get on it anymore. That's the first thing I need to say here. You can't get on the horse once you're off of it in this mission. But I was thinking about if I could somehow get back onto the horse and then use that somehow to knock out the Driscolls, maybe in some interesting way that wouldn't really involve Arthur or something. So I was for a while trying to get back onto the horse once you got off of it. And I did find that once you are off the horse, if you place it close enough to this rock on the left, you can actually jump from the rock onto the horse. And once you're there, you can, for example, park it close to a roof, maybe close to the shed or something, and then jump from the shed onto the horse that way also. So this doesn't work in all the missions. Sometimes the developers have disabled it. But in this mission, you can fall onto your horse and using that ride it longer than was intended. But again, I have not found any use for that in this mission. So here I'm just kind of walking past, trying to get to the shed as fast as possible because I did not assume this run would work out. So I was just kind of trying to get to it as quick as possible, try it out, and then try it again until it works. Because at this point I had already discovered the strategy I wanted to use. I was just practicing and grinding at this point. So another thing I wanted to try, or did try, but that didn't work out too much, was that obviously you see the cart on the right there where Sadie's husband is, and Micah will crouch next to that. And I tried to make it impossible for him to get there, basically, to see if that helps me in some way. And I did actually manage to block his path using the horse technique I described before. I went on the horse and parked the horse right there where Micah would like to crouch down. And then it was actually kind of funny. He went up to the horse and just kind of stared at it and tried to push it away, but couldn't if I placed it correctly. And so he would just kind of stand there until finally he would just kind of teleport into the position he wants to be, and the horse would be pushed aside. So first of all, it didn't really work, but it did actually delay him that much that the cutscene of Dutch talking to the Driscolls was already playing. So I think they would have seen him technically, right? But it did not make any difference. Yeah, also interesting here is that once you're crouching here in this position I am currently, you cannot stand up again. In fact, you can't do much of anything at this point. But I did figure out that you can, using the transition cover thing, you can sometimes, I haven't found the pattern repeatedly, but you can sometimes cover transition to the other sides of the shed. And I was thinking if somehow from there I could maybe cover transition to a fence or something and move to some position somewhere else while this cutscene is playing, and maybe that would help me in some way, but in fact I could not figure that out, so don't know if that would have even helped me. Oh, by the way, just kind of funny, all of the Driscolls that are in this house are standing right in behind these doors, one in the back door and three in the front door, standing just right behind the door, all inside of each other. Now the door opens and they come out, but they're actually all piled up in there. And the ones that comes from the top window isn't there at all. I did actually find a way to climb onto both the roof above this door and the roof of the whole house, as well as climbing on top of the shed and on top of the stables. You can climb on top of all of these there's routes to get up there, but sadly I found no use for this. I was still attempting at that point to get into Sadie's house, and one thing I tried, for example, was shooting the window, the top window there, this window up here, shooting that window with the pistol from far away while on horseback. As I said, you can do that. And kind of destroying that window and then trying to kind of climb through it, because, as I said, you can actually get up on top of this this roof here. But sadly, there was no vaulting animation possible. I tried to glitch through it a bunch, but couldn't. Even so, I don't think it would have actually done anything for me to get into the house. Okay, let's move on here a little bit. So we're waiting for Micah here to tell us that there's a corpse right there. And I'm already ready to run out, because really nothing to wait for here. So I want to do two things here. First of all, I want to briefly, just because you might be curious, I want to briefly explain how you can get into Sadie's house at this point in the mission. So during the fight, basically. It's not shown in this video, but I want to briefly describe it to you in case you want to try it out. So what you can, both of these doors, this one and these are the two doors into the house, and now have pretty huge collision boxes around them, meaning that you can't pass through them. What you can do is pick an NPC, maybe like this one, and knock out his gun and make him follow you pretty much over here where my mouse is. And then you can repeatedly tackle him to the ground, wait for him to stand up, tackle him again, wait for him to stand up, tackle him again. And by that, gain meter after meter and tackle him up these stairs through the door. And eventually you will be able to tackle and then stand up and tackle and stand up and tackle and stand up. By stand up, I mean dismiss, obviously. Tackle, dismiss, until you are through the collision box and you can enter the house. In there you can look at the photograph, you can pick up a few items that are in there, but as I said, it doesn't, sadly it doesn't trigger any cutscene. I really hoped it would just trigger the cutscene of Micah chasing around Sadie in there, and it does trigger the end of the mission, but sadly, not so. Okay, let's explain actually what I'm doing next. So this is actually one of the enemies Arthur needs to kill. They actually are actually part of the first three that spawn in. So there's one, this one is right here. There's one that's probably around the back there, And there's one, what, I don't know where he is actually. There he is. No, that's Dutch. Don't know where the last one is right now. Well, it's the 3 that are on the minimap right now anyway. These are the 3 that Arthur needs to kill. A few more will spawn during the rest of the mission, but the gang can take care of all of those. So the first thing I did is disarm one of them. I will take care of these guys sequentially. So I disarmed the first guy here, and luckily he aggroes onto me and will follow me, in a little bit at least. I'm standing around here kind of waiting for him to follow me, looking at the minimap. Now I can see he's following me. There he goes. So here's the strategy, and I will use the same thing for all 3 enemies. So obviously part of the rule set is that I'm not allowed to punch these guys into a knocked out state. But I am allowed to use the environment kind of sneakily in order to get them into the knocked out state. And by that, I want them to kind of climb up on this roof where I'm at right now and fall down, and by that become knocked out. NPCs will usually not fall down roofs on their own. They might choose to jump down if AI allows it, but they will not fall down roofs if you don't motivate them to do so. And so there are 2 strategies here that are kind of linked to each other that I used. So first you can see this, the boards I'm currently standing on are pretty close to each other, whereas on the opposite side of the shed in front of me, there are these 2 gaps between the boards. And this actually, the geometry there is very hard for NPCs and also Arthur actually to walk on. They will often stumble and enter into ragdoll mode, even if you don't mess with them at all. Just by walking over these gaps in the floor, they will often just become ragdolls and just fall over basically. And just with a lot of luck, this can lead to them falling off the roof and I don't know, becoming knocked out. It might take a few attempts because this shed is not very high, so I think it might sometimes, and I think also in this video, it takes a few times of them falling down until they actually get knocked out. But yeah, that's the first thing. So this doesn't even involve any intervention from Arthur, right? The only thing we need to do is climb up here. And you can see that the guy is actually following me. And also there is only 1 or 2 spots that the enemy AI can climb up here. So one thing is that I'm really happy is that they do actually want to follow me, because it could be the case also that they decide that I'm not reachable and instead try to go beat up Micah or something like that. But they really do want to catch me up here, which is really nice. And they can pretty much only climb up right there where I'm standing. Either in front of me or to the left of me is where they can climb up. Those are the 2 options. I have not seen them climb up anywhere else on this roof. So that's why I'm waiting right here. Also, you can see I'm standing very much on the edge of the roof. The reason for that is that there is this plank going in the same direction as Arthur is facing right now, below my feet. And I'm actually standing on that, and that prevents me from falling over in this weird way I described before. At least it does right now. I think I will fall over at some future point here in this clip. So let's continue. He's climbing up. And okay, so here's the next interesting part. I don't know if it works immediately, but here's what I'm trying to do. So, as I said, even without Arthur's intervention, these guys will often kind of fall over on the planks here and potentially fall down. But it just takes way too long to kind of wait for that. It's not repeatable at all. And so what I'm trying to do here is wait for him to come up and then wait for him right next to him when he comes up, or right in front of him rather, and then immediately get into a brawl with him. And when he does that, he will of course attempt to punch me, and I will block his punch. And if I successfully block his punch, he will do this animation where he kind of looks at his fist angrily and takes a step backwards. And this is the important part, because by taking a step backwards, he falls off the roof. Now, the NPCs don't always do this. If the geometry is like very clean, they will attempt to take a step backwards, but don't actually do it. They won't actually take the step because they can sense that the geometry doesn't allow it, and they will stay on the edge. But here, the geometry is kind of messy, and so they will. He will actually fully attempt to take a step backwards, and because of that, fall off the geometry. Now here, kind of doesn't work out for me the first few attempts there, but now you can see what I mean. He took the step backwards after blocking, fell down, but he did not die. So now I'm going back a few steps, and the reason for that is that I want to, first of all, make sure he has all the space he needs to pathfind back up to the roof. And also I want to reset my own position back to the edge so that I'm standing on top of the, on the pole that's, on the plank that's running sideways to the main roof planks, I guess. So that I'm not at danger of tripping. Even though I'm pretty sure I will trip in this next clip here, so let's see. There you go. You can see we're both kind of... Okay, we didn't trip, but you can see we both kind of half fell into the roof there and both fell off the roof also. Sorry for these artifacts. My video player does that sometimes. So, back on the roof I go. He has a little bit of trouble there finding how to get back up there, but eventually he does figure it out. So this, you can see I kind of slid too far there. As I said, geometry is kind of wacky. And because of that, I was too close to the edge he wanted to climb up, and that actually prevents his AI from doing so. So I back up again to make some space for him so that he can get up there. But even though, and so I think he chooses to actually, get up from the side here. So this is the other point where they can get up to the roof, but they only do that very rarely. I've not seen them do that a lot. So try to punch him. And I think he falls over, but yeah, you can see he kind of gets stuck with his feet a bunch. It doesn't actually fall down too much. There he goes. He gets stuck with his feet here, which was extremely infuriating to me because he was already pretty much falling down, even with his head down, which I think this might just be a feeling, but I think it does more damage when they fall down with their head towards the floor. So I was really looking forward to that fall, but actually he does fall, but it doesn't kill him. He actually kind of weirdly fell through the roof and is inside of the shed now, but whatever. So back he goes. I'm very grateful that he does not decide to go anywhere else, and usually they don't. They will attempt to keep going up there. So here we both actually started ragdolling. So this happens all the time on this weird roof. That's what I tried to prevent by standing on top of the more stable side here with the plank. But yeah, it doesn't always work, and as you can see, we both fall down. And once again, he did not die. So we do it one more time. I think this time it works out. There he goes. So I know he's dead, first of all, obviously because of the X on the map, and also because of the white flash. So I don't know, let's continue here. I don't know if the game considers this NPC to have been killed by Arthur, but I don't, and that's all that matters here. So now we just kind of repeat the same procedure again, even though this guy knocks me out almost here. Oop, that was close. So here I'm waiting to see if he will follow me, and he does. Trying to position myself again, but here I think I went too far and actually scared him off. So I tried to go on some other way. He's glitching through the fence bunch. But at some point here, he will find his way. I think here I kind of felt, okay, well, maybe I'm not giving him enough space, and went back a little bit, but I think this time maybe he gets there. Well, okay, so now we are in a bad position, because now he's actually got me in that exact position that I want him to be in, and he might actually apply my own treatment to Arthur here. So that's why I'm trying to dodge around him to get him to stand on the weird planks again. And now you can see, even though we're not even close to the edge yet, he keeps falling over again, because the geometry here is just kind of bad for NPCs to stand on. That was really weird. Him just running over there like that. They don't do that often. Also, they can't actually get off the roof by themselves easily. Like if I went off the roof right now, he would just stay up there. He would not be able to pathfind down. And I actually used that to my advantage to position one of them on the roof in a way that was in line of sight from Micah, and had them shoot at him like had Micah shoot at one of these guys on the roof here for like half an hour just to see if they would eventually die, but they don't, and so I concluded that they are invincible. So now there are 2 more enemies here. One on the top of the window, who's already dead now, and one you can see close to the east marker on the minimap. Both of these I don't need to touch. Dutch and Micah do for me. The one that's missing is this one in front of me here with the bushy beard. That's how I recognize him. Also, I need to be careful with this guy because he has a knife. And so I'm kind of running away from him here. Oh, there he is. Maybe a mistake. Maybe he doesn't have a knife. I thought he did. So, okay, well, I guess he doesn't have a knife. He's trying to punch me. I guess I misremembered. One of these guys has a knife. So here was waiting for him to get up, but I noticed he was stuck in an animation, so I moved a little bit to kind of get him out of it. And there he goes. That kid didn't kill him though, so I'll wait a little bit. Also, at this point, I don't have any time pressure at all, because this is the last guy. He's focused on me. There's no way Dutch and Micah can die right now. And so I can take my time with this one. With the other ones, I'm always a little bit stressed. But here he goes. So now the guy comes out of the toilet. I found that this doesn't actually happen every time. Somewhat unreliable that this guy comes out of the toilet, in my opinion, in my experience. But don't need to do anything with him. He just kind of dies after a while. I think Mike shoots him. Now we got the runner, who I'm waiting here for. Actually, I'm waiting for him to come out of the store right now, but he doesn't until you reach the front of the house. There he goes. So obviously we don't do anything with him. So just in case you're curious, if you want to reach the house, the top of the house, there are 2 ways to do that. So if you want to reach only this roof up here, the way you can do that is by walking up these stairs and just spamming the jump button while doing so. And eventually Arthur will grab this ledge up here, and from there you can get onto this roof, in case you wanted to do that. Let me go a little bit back here, so I can show you that if you climb on top of this house, or shed or whatever that is, you can actually climb, jump thing from here to this edge over there, specifically to where these icicles are. You can make that jump, and Arthur will jump over there and grab onto this ledge, and you can get onto the roof that way. But neither of these places have provided any use to me. I just thought it was kind of interesting that you can get there, basically. All right, now let's wait for me to get in there and collect the supplies that I have to do before I can go to the stables. So while I'm here, I grab every single food item I can. Obviously, I'm supposed to do that, so that's why I do it. But I wouldn't have to, right? The reason I do grab all of these food items is in preparation for future missions, because as you can see, I'm getting punched a lot during these playthroughs, and so I need every piece of healing item I can take, especially these biscuits I just took. I think I've eaten these like a billion times at this point, and used them for healing in the first few missions. Looking at the photo, not really because I have to, just because I'm waiting for Dutch mostly. Dutch needs to kind of go through his routine here before we can exit the house, and it will be counting as done. I just kind of have to wait for him to walk over to the bed, which he's doing right now, and he will be inspecting one of the chests there, and I think he takes blankets out of it or something. And when he's done with that, he will tell me to go out, but now I'm still waiting for him to do that. Eating some beans there mid-sentence. There he goes, picking up the blankets. Kind of impatient here. I want him to get on with it. But I think I don't know. I think I'm a little too early. Actually, I don't think I'm allowed to leave yet. I mean, I can leave obviously, but the mission doesn't continue. So I can already talk a little bit ahead of what I was thinking about next. I was thinking of the fight in the barn. Obviously, that's the only thing that's left in this mission that involves any fighting. Well, that's annoying. I had to walk in a few steps for a dodge to move on. That's how it is sometimes in this game. So actually, I think I'm going. Even now, I'm going too early to the barn, and so yeah, I'm waiting here because I've had it happen before. It might have been happen here. I don't remember. That you go to the barn and you wait for it to be able to go in there, and it doesn't work because I would have had to stand around with Dutch and Micah for like 1 second longer. I think that's what I realized here, and so I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I need to go back one more time so they can ask me to go over there. It's kind of it's stupid, but there we go. Now I can go over there. Here, that's all. It's interesting. I've shot this lantern a bunch, hoping that it would, in a way, burn me a hole into the wall. That doesn't work, obviously. But I've also experimented with shooting the lantern. Then there will be some burny stuff on the floor, and then luring enemies through that. But it was just way too difficult. There's maybe a way to do that, but I couldn't figure it out. Here we go. Here comes the train sound. Well, I guess I don't know if it's a train sound. It just kind of all sounded like that. So, few notes on this fight. I don't consider this a knockout. If you spare him at the end, he does scurry off into the snow, so clearly he's alive. So even if I'm punching him here, I don't consider this a knockout. So this is no matter how this fight is going, it's safe in terms of the challenge. However, I did attempt to kind of see if I can somehow maybe get another NPC to deal with him, or somehow else basically get around having to punch him, right? Now, this was probably a doomed endeavor from the start because it involves a cutscene and dialogue and all of that, and so you already know that it will be very hard to get past that. But I did try anyway, and a few notes on this. So first of all, there's an invisible wall here now at the door. You can't go through it, the enemy can't go through it. Dutch will be standing there in a little bit, but he won't intervene at all. Very useful. Also, weapon wheel is disabled here. At the very least I think so. I don't have my gun anymore, it's on the floor, but I can't pick it up. What I can do actually is get out my knife by pressing the corresponding number key, and I can knife this guy. I can actually knife him as much as I want to. He's invincible from the knife. I have knifed this man so many times in an attempt to find if that does anything interesting. Obviously not very pacifist of me, but I was exploring strategies. But again, he is 100% impervious to knives. He can only be beaten. Well, I'm thinking about if there's anything interesting coming up during the rest of this mission, but I don't think so. So I'm very happy with this mission, how it turned out. I consider this guy right here to be inside of the challenge's parameters because you can let him live. There he goes. So he's clearly alive. And also the guys that became knocked out, I would say that, well, that wasn't me. They just decided to take a step backwards and fell off the roof and whatever. You know, that wasn't really me. So I would also say there that this fits inside of the mission. Inside of the mission? I guess inside of the mission. I wanted to say inside of the challenge. In any case, I think I recorded all the way to the end of this mission, but I don't think I need to show it because nothing really happens, right? It's just a bunch of cutscenes now. Hope you enjoyed this. Maybe you find it useful. I'm sure there's some way this can be improved. at the very least in speed, because I wasn't really moving in an optimized way and all of that. Well, in any case, thanks for watching.